Hi, first grade. Today you are going to read the story Whistle for Willie. Okay, so if you want to follow along with me as I read it to you, have your reading book open to page 46 and 47. Pause this video if you need to go get it, okay? So I'm going to start. So we're on page 46 and 47, which is the title page. Our story is Whistle for Willie, and it is a fiction story. But you're going to find that it's not a fantasy, but it's a realistic fiction, meaning that this story could happen in real life. It could be a true story. It's not. Somebody made it up, so it is fiction. Remember, F in fiction is F for fake. It's a fake story made up, okay? So now, let's read Whistle for Willie. So now I'm on page 48 and 49. Oh, how Peter wished he could whistle. So now, the text tells me that Peter wished he could whistle. In the illustration, in the picture, he looks a little sad. Let's see, well, it doesn't tell us that he's sad. The text doesn't say Peter is very sad. But if you look at his face, does he not look very sad? He does look sad. Why do you think he's sad? He's sad because he can't whistle. Okay? So now I want you to turn your page to 50 and 51. He saw a boy playing with his dog. Whenever the boy whistled, the dog ran straight to him. Peter tried to whistle, but he couldn't. So instead, he began to turn himself around. Around and around he whirled, faster and faster. So there's that yellow word that we talked about the other day, and that word is instead, meaning he did something else. He made a choice to do something else. So instead of trying to whistle, he turned himself around. Why do you think that he did that? Maybe he was trying to whistle. Maybe he figured that's how you could whistle, is if you spin yourself around and around. How do you think he kind of felt after he spun around and around? Think about when you spin around and around. How do you feel? Do you feel dizzy? I know I do. Okay, so go ahead and turn to page 52. When he stopped, everything turned down and up and down and around and around. So again, how did he feel? He was probably feeling pretty dizzy from spinning around and around. Good. Okay, so now turn to page 54. Peter saw his dog Willie coming. Quick as a wink, he hid in an empty carton lying on the sidewalk. Wouldn't it be funny if I whistled, Peter thought. Willie would stop and look all around to see who it was. Peter tried again to whistle, but still he couldn't. So Willie just walked on. So when it says, wouldn't it be funny if I whistled, Peter thought, did he actually say that out loud? No, he was just thinking in his head. So when the author says that somebody thought something, they didn't say it out loud. It's just they're having a conversation in their head. Do you sometimes have conversations in your head? I do. Okay? So now, did he whistle? Nope, he couldn't whistle. Okay, so turn to page 56. We're going to see what happens. Peter got out of the carton and started home. On the way, he took some colored chalks out of his pocket and drew a long, long line right up to the door. He stood there and tried to whistle again. He blew till his cheeks were tired, but nothing happened. So, what is Peter trying to do on these pages? He's trying to whistle. Why is this challenging for him? Because he keeps blowing and blowing and nothing happens. Can you whistle? Who can't whistle? Let me tell you a secret. You ready? Shh. Don't tell anybody else. Mrs. Tasber can't whistle either. So if you can't whistle, it's okay, because I can't either. I try and I just can't whistle. Alright, turn to page 58. Shh, don't tell anybody my secret. Page 58 and 59. He went into his house and put on his father's old hat to make himself feel more grown up. He looked into the mirror to practice whistling. Still no whistle. So now, why did Peter put on his father's old hat? What does our text say? To make him feel more grown up. So now, the text doesn't tell us how Peter is feeling, but you are smart and you can figure out, how do you think he's feeling? Yeah, he's probably feeling young and maybe putting on the hat, making himself feel more grown up, thinking that will help him whistle. Okay, so now let's turn to page 60. When his mother saw what he was doing, Peter pretended that he was his father. He said, "I've come home early today, dear. Is Peter here?" His mother answered, "Why, no. He's outside with Willie." "Well, I'll go out and look for them," said Peter. Now, do you think Peter is going to find Willie? Do you think by the end of the story that Peter will be able to whistle? Well, let's see if you are right. Okay, so now turn to page 62 and 63. First, he walked along a crack in the sidewalk. Then, he tried to run away from his shadow. So look at that yellow word, along. We've already talked about this. Along kind of means next to something. So, if you look on the picture, he walked next to the crack in the sidewalk. Good. Now turn to page 64. He jumped off his shadow, but when he landed, they were together again. So now, are you always with your shadow? I'm always with mine. Yep, you're always with yours too. Okay? He came to the corner where the curtain was, and who should he see but Willie? So now, what do you think is going to happen? Alright, well, let's see if you are right. Go ahead, turn to page 66, and let's see if you're right. Peter scrambled under the curtain. He blew and blew and blew. Suddenly, out came a real whistle. He went into the curtain. Did you think that he was going to do that? Yeah, he did. And it says suddenly, which means it happened right at once, all at once. Out came a real whistle. Willie stopped and looked around to see who it was. Why do you think Willie looked around? Right, because Peter was hiding in the curtain. Willie couldn't see Peter. So Willie was trying to figure out who get the whistle. Okay, good. Turn to page 68. "It's me!" Peter shouted and stood up. Willie raced straight to him. So now, tell me, what was Peter's problem in the story? Right, Peter couldn't whistle. Okay? So now, how did Peter solve his problem? You're right, he tried again and then again. He didn't give up. He was very determined. Good, good. So turn to page 70. Ready? Peter ran home to show his father and mother what he could do. They loved Peter's whistling. So did Willie. So now, why do you think Peter ran home to his mom and dad? Because he was really proud and really excited that he could whistle. He wanted to show them. When you finally do something, don't you want to show other people? Because that's what Peter did. He wanted to show. Okay? So now, think about everything that's happened in the story. Has anything in here been a fantasy? No, everything that's happened could happen in real life. You could act out everything that's in this story, okay? So turn to the last 2 pages of our story, page 72 and 73. Peter's mother asked him and Willie to go on an errand to the grocery store. He whistled all the way there, and he whistled all the way home. So now, why do you think he kept whistling? Because now that he knows how to do it, he's very excited to do it and wants to do it a lot. When you learn how to do something, I'm sure you will try to do it as often as you can. So now the yellow word that's on page 72, errand. Do you remember what that means? It means it's a short, quick trip to do something. So maybe he was going to go buy some groceries for his mom or things like that. Okay? Alright, well, I hope you enjoyed the story. And make sure you read it again before you take the quiz on Friday. Alright, have a good day, first grade. Bye!